Keisha has been wanting to have a child for a long time.
For a long time.
Okay, all right.
A long time.
I know.
You're not gonna deny this.
Mendeecees, listen.
What?
You never had this experience of going through what she's going through. Parenting looks different for everybody. So you can't sit here and say how one person needs to do it because you've been blessed to be able to do it the easy way. And don't ruin Keisha's moment.
Yo, Val, let me tell you something real quick.
No idea what's going on.
Listen, do you know if Yandy give Keisha an egg, that's Yandy's child
That's
she's
okay.
carrying,
That's not
right?
my
It's not really her child.
It's not her child.
No, we signed papers that once I give her my egg, it's hers.
Because I wanted to have a child with my DNA. Who's the next best person to go to? It's my sister. So that's what I wanted to do.
But listen,
And-
so you giving up the child for like adoption or something like that, right?
No.
The penthouse was silent, too silent. A storm had been brewing for weeks, but tonight, the lightning finally struck. Yandy stood frozen in the doorway, clutching a phone still glowing with the text that shattered her world. She's pregnant. And it's Mendeecees. Her knees nearly buckled. Erika. Her name wasn't even supposed to be spoken in that house, let alone attached to something this devastating. Just hours earlier, Mendeecees swore there were no secrets left between them. But secrets don't stay buried forever. And this one clawed its way into Yandy's life with claws soaked in betrayal. When she confronted him, his silence said more than any lie ever could. Her voice cracked, not from anger, but from the kind of heartbreak that comes when betrayal isn't from a stranger, but from the man you rebuilt your life around. And just when she thought she couldn't take any more, Erika's voice played through a voicemail Yandy was never supposed to hear. I didn't mean for you to find out like this, but he always comes back to me. Now the cameras are rolling, tears are falling, and the truth? It's uglier than anyone imagined. And this time, there's no coming back. Yandy Smith Harris wasn't just a woman. She was a movement, a brand, a walking testimony of ride-or-die loyalty, built from years of holding it down while Mendeecees sat behind bars. She raised his kids, protected his name, and turned pain into power. When others fled from scandal, Yandy stood tall, brushing off the whispers and choosing love over judgment. Her sacrifices weren't just emotional, they were spiritual. The world watched as she went to war for her man, telling herself that faithfulness would one day be rewarded with peace. But the streets always remember. And so does Erika. Long before Yandy became the face of unwavering devotion, Erika had already etched herself into Mendeecees' history. She wasn't just an ex. She was the first. The one who knew him when he had nothing before the suits, before the cameras, before the empire. And she never let him forget it. While Yandy worked overtime to rebrand his life, Erika sat in the shadows, holding onto memories and secrets. Everyone knew Erika and Mendeecees had a past, but no one expected it to haunt the present or threaten the future. Their connection had always been raw, complicated, dangerous. Mendeecees tried to keep Erika at a distance after his release, but there were moments, late-night calls, co-parenting drop-offs, unexplained absences that made Yandy question if the door was ever truly closed. Friends warned her. He's too comfortable around her. But Yandy refused to be paranoid. Not after everything she had already forgiven. She buried her doubts under affirmations and business meetings, praying love would be enough to silence the ghosts. But betrayal doesn't knock. It kicks the door in. What no one knew was that Erika had been harboring something far more permanent than regret. She was carrying a secret. And this time, it wasn't just emotional. It was biological. A child. Conceived during a moment of weakness, while Mendeecees was still on probation. He told himself it didn't mean anything. Thought it was a lapse. A mistake. But mistakes don't stay hidden when blood gets involved. Meanwhile, Yandy's own sister Keisha had been fighting her own demons. Diagnosed with severe endometriosis and battling infertility, she had always dreamed of becoming a mother. And in a twist no one saw coming, Yandy, desperate to help her sister, offered up her own eggs for IVF. It was a decision rooted in love, but one that created its own emotional web. Mendeecees wasn't consulted. And when he found out, he was furious, not because he was against it, but because he felt betrayed. "That's our child too," he said. You made a choice that affects our family without me. The seeds of resentment were already growing. So, when the news of Erika's pregnancy finally came to light, it wasn't just a scandal. It was war. Not just between Yandy and Mendeecees, but between Yandy and her entire sense of identity. How do you fight for a marriage while someone else carries your husband's child? How do you console your sister about motherhood when you're barely holding your own family together? Yandy's past came flooding back. Every court hearing, every jail visit, every moment she'd held his family together while he was gone. And this was her reward? A secret child with a woman who had always lingered in the background like unfinished business? It wasn't just about Erika. It was about all the times she'd swallowed her pride, all the nights she'd defended him to a judgmental world, only to be blindsided in the most intimate way. And Mendeecees? His guilt was palpable. But guilt wasn't enough. Not when trust had been shattered. Not when his silence had weaponized Erika against Yandy in the worst way possible. It didn't mean anything, he kept saying. But it meant something now. In whispers, the city started choosing sides. Social media turned it into spectacle. Team Yandy. Team Erika. Team baby mama number 3. But inside those 4 penthouse walls, the pain was deafening. Every corner held a memory. Every glance a question. And while Yandy tried to hold her head high, the ache in her chest reminded her that love doesn't always conquer betrayal. This wasn't just infidelity. It was legacy theft. Erika's child was a walking reminder that loyalty isn't always returned in kind. And yet, Yandy wasn't the type to fold. She was going to fight not for him, but for herself. For her name. For her dignity. Because if this chapter was going to end, it wouldn't end with silence. It would end with fire. The sky over Atlanta was bruised with thunderclouds when the truth finally crashed down like lightning on Yandy's already fragile world. She had been holding on to hope, clinging to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, Kish's pregnancy was the result of a donor or a clinical slip-up. But the silence from Mendeecees, the awkward deflections, the late-night pacing, the sudden calls he'd take outside, painted a picture far more damning than she could bear. And when Erika's name surfaced, whispered in the background of a FaceTime call by mistake, Yandy's blood ran cold. It was all unraveling. For weeks, Yandy had tried to keep the peace, to honor her role as the calm, collected queen of her household. But the cracks were spreading. She'd noticed how Kisha would grow quiet when Mendeecees entered a room, how their glances carried stories untold, how Erika had suddenly gone radio silent after years of co-parenting turbulence. Something was off. And now she knew, this wasn't just about Kisha's desperation to have a child or Mendeecees' discomfort with the process. This was about betrayal. One so deeply rooted, it was practically premeditated. Yandy waited until they were both home, no cameras, no producers, no distractions. Just her, Mendeecees, and the storm about to erupt inside their shared kitchen. "Sit down," she said, barely able to control the shake in her voice. Mendeecees glanced up, wary. "What's wrong?" "Don't play dumb," she snapped, slamming her phone on the counter. On the screen was a text thread she'd received from an anonymous number. Photos. Medical paperwork. A single sonogram image dated 5 weeks earlier, labeled under a different patient name, but with a listed emergency contact, Erika H. Harris. His silence was an answer all its own. "So you're going to stand there and tell me that this has nothing to do with you? That Kish's baby isn't yours? That Erika just magically popped up with prenatal paperwork and your name listed as emergency contact?" He tried to deflect. "I don't know what that is. That could be anything. People use my name all the time." Yandy cut him off with a bitter laugh. "So now we're pretending identity theft includes a matching DNA profile too?" That's when Mendeecees cracked, not into a confession, but into anger. "Why are you coming at me like this? You don't know what was going on. You think you know everything, but you only ever see your side." Yandy's voice lowered into something more dangerous than shouting. "I see a man who let my sister live under our roof, share meals at our table, while sneaking behind my back. And now Erika's carrying your child too? How many more women have to show up with receipts before you admit you've burned every bridge we had?" But then, the real twist unraveled. Mendeecees slammed his hand on the counter, startling them both. You want the truth? You really want it? Yandy blinked, her breath shallow. It's not Kisha's baby, he said quietly. It's Erika's. But Kisha helped her hide it. The room froze. What did you just say? Yandy asked, stunned. He ran a hand over his face, guilt etched in every line. They came up with this plan. Erika knew she couldn't keep the baby without causing drama, knew it would blow up everything between me and you. Kisha offered to pretend it was hers. Said she'd carry the narrative, deflect the attention. They didn't expect you to catch on so fast. Yandy staggered backward like she'd been physically hit. The betrayal wasn't just Mendeecees, it was Kisha, her sister, her blood, weaponizing a lie to protect the woman who had been her enemy for years. I brought her into my home, Yandy whispered. I trusted her. She thought she was helping, Mendeecees muttered. Erika begged her to keep it quiet until she figured out what to do. Kisha didn't know how deep it would go. But you did, Yandy seethed. You knew it was Erika's baby, and you still let this charade go on. There was nothing left to say. The betrayal was layered, each confession heavier than the last. Erika was pregnant with Mendeecees' child, and rather than come clean, the trio had spun a web so elaborate it nearly devoured Yandy's sanity. The next day, the fallout began. Yandy's emotional breakdown leaked online, courtesy of a crew member who caught her pacing on the penthouse balcony, sobbing into her phone. The video hit Twitter within hours. The caption? Strongest woman on TV just broke in real time. Hashtag pray for Yandy. It had over 3 million views in less than a day. The public turned vicious. Some fans sided with her, praising her resilience. Others demanded answers from Erika. How you gonna be the side chick and the mastermind? One viral TikTok demanded. But nothing compared to the next bombshell. A paternity test, leaked anonymously to a gossip blog, confirmed that Mendeecees was the father of Erika's unborn child. The internet exploded. Memes. Reaction videos. Think pieces. Hashtags. Hashtag Mendeecees mess. Hashtag not Kisha's baby. Hashtag Erika exposed. Hashtag justice for Yandy. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was a scandal. And worse? A leaked group chat between Erika and Kisha surfaced, revealing that Erika had been planning to reveal the baby after the reunion special taping to boost her public sympathy and land a new spin-off deal. She'll forgive him eventually, Erika allegedly wrote. She always does. And I'll be the one with the child. Yandy couldn't breathe when she read it. The manipulation. The coldness. The long con. It wasn't about love. It was about power. The confrontation with Kisha was inevitable. And brutal. But that moment, that comes next. Because before Yandy could even respond, the final line of Erika's text dropped like a guillotine. He always comes back to me. This baby just makes it permanent. And with that, everything shattered. Yandy wasn't just fighting to keep her marriage. She was fighting to survive a legacy of betrayal, plotted from within her own bloodline. And baby, the next twist? It's going to shake the entire city. The days following Yandy's heartbreaking discovery were far from calm. In fact, the emotional tension had only begun to unravel. What started as whispers in her own home was now becoming a full-blown media frenzy. News of Kesha's pregnancy with Mendeecees' child had leaked, and not through a press release or a quiet family confirmation. No, it was revealed through a cryptic Instagram live from Kesha herself. With tears streaming down her face and a trembling voice, Kesha confessed to her followers that she was pregnant and that everything they thought they knew about the Harris family was a lie. She didn't name names, but the damage was already done. The comments section exploded, fans dissected every word, and blogs lit up with speculation. Within hours, Mendeecees, Yandy, and Kesha were all trending. Yandy was blindsided. She had done everything to keep this matter private, to protect what little dignity she had left after the betrayal. But now, her pain was public property. Her phone rang nonstop, calls from friends, sponsors, show producers, even tabloids offering payouts for exclusive interviews. She declined them all. Her focus was now on saving what was left of her family or burning it to the ground if it meant protecting her children from this toxic spiral. And then came the second blow. Erika. It started with a voicemail. A short, cold message from an unrecognized number. When Yandy played it, the room went still. You think Kesha was your biggest betrayal? You haven't even scratched the surface. Ask Mendeecees about the baby I had in Baltimore. Erika. Yandy froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Erika? As in that Erika? The one Mendeecees had a whirlwind romance with before he ever met Yandy? The same Erika who had always been a thorn in their side, popping up every few years with veiled jabs and shady subtweets? It couldn't be. But the timing was too precise. Too cruel. Yandy confronted Mendeecees the moment he walked through the door. He looked exhausted, like the weight of his own lies was finally suffocating him. She didn't even yell. She simply played the voicemail. Silence. His eyes dropped to the floor. That was all the confirmation she needed. You told me she was a mistake, Yandy said, her voice trembling. You told me she was nothing. And now you're telling me there's a child. I didn't know, Mendeecees muttered. I swear I didn't know until recently. She reached out a few months ago. I thought it wasn't mine. I didn't say anything because I was scared. Scared? Yandy exploded. You mean coward. You let me sit here and defend you to the world. You let me raise your kids, fight your battles, go to war with these women, and all along, you knew you were hiding a child. Mendeecees tried to reach for her, but she recoiled like he was poison. And then he broke. In the most unexpected, gut-wrenching way. I didn't tell you because I thought I was doing the right thing, he said, his voice shaking. You've already taken on so much for me, Yandy. You held me down while I was locked up. You fought my fights. And when I found out about Erika's baby, I couldn't face the thought of telling you. Because it meant I'd failed you again. And I couldn't bear to lose you. But it was too late. The damage had been done. And worse, this new child wasn't just a betrayal of Yandy's trust. It was a living, breathing symbol of the web of lies Mendeecees had spun. And the betrayal didn't stop there. The very next morning, Erika did what she does best, escalate. She went live. In a searing 10-minute stream, Erika confirmed she had a child with Mendeecees. She didn't show the child's face, but she revealed enough details, age, timeline, even blurry photos of Mendeecees at a playground, that there was no denying it. Y'all want the truth? I was the first, Erika snapped at the camera. And while he was playing husband to Yandy, he was still playing daddy to my baby on the low. Don't act surprised. That man's a chameleon. The internet broke. Again. Rumors swirled that Yandy had known all along and covered it up to protect her brand. Others speculated that Erika was lying, trying to capitalize off the chaos of the Kesha situation. But behind the scenes, Yandy's team was scrambling to verify everything. And verify they did. Paternity tests. Text messages. Receipts. Erika wasn't bluffing. Yandy had now been betrayed not once, but twice. First by her husband, then by her sister. And now she was caught in the eye of a media storm that refused to die down. Her brand was at risk. Her family was crumbling. And her heart, already shattered, was being stomped on publicly. At this point, Yandy's silence was its own weapon. She didn't post. She didn't comment. She disappeared from public view, fueling even more speculation. Fans wondered, was she filing for divorce? Was she planning her own live stream? Was she, God forbid, considering walking away from everything? What no one expected was what she did next. Exactly 1 week after Erika's live stream, Yandy returned. Dressed in white, seated alone in her living room, she posted a 3-minute video titled My Truth. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. Her voice was steady, controlled, devastating. I've been lied to by people I've bled for. I've been betrayed by people I fed. And now I stand at a crossroads. Not for my followers. Not for my brand. But for myself. Because the pain you've watched unfold publicly is only half the story. What happens next will not be a spectacle. It will be healing. Quiet. And permanent. The video went viral instantly. The comment section was flooded with support. But behind the applause was a question no one dared to say aloud. What else hadn't Yandy revealed? Because if Mendeecees had a secret child, and Erika had proof, and Kesha was now carrying his child too, what other secrets had this family buried? And just like that, the cliffhanger deepened. The news didn't just break, it detonated. Within hours of Kesha's reveal that she was pregnant with Mendeecees' child, the streets of Atlanta buzzed like a live wire. Blogs exploded, shade rooms ignited, and social media descended into utter chaos. The words Yandy's sister and Mendeecees' love child danced through trending hashtags like wildfire. Fans of the couple who had once rooted for their fairy tale were now split down the middle, jaws unhinged, wondering how something so twisted could happen under one roof. Inside their penthouse, silence reigned. But outside, the city was screaming. Hashtag Yandy News started trending within hours. Ain't no way you share a roof with your sister and man, and don't know something going down, one user tweeted. Others jumped to her defense. Y'all ever been blindsided by family and a man? This ain't on her. This betrayal's nuclear. The comment section turned into a digital courtroom. Everyone had an opinion, and Yandy was caught in the crossfire. Back at the label offices and within the love and hip-hop production team, emergency meetings were held. Should they air the footage? Do they show the confrontation? Was this too raw, too real, too vile? But of course, mess sells, and this was the kind of mess producers pray for. The confrontation was marked on the season's timeline as the penthouse bomb. Rumors spread that security had to be called in after Yandy nearly threw a glass at the camera crew following the off-air moment. Kesha smugly asked, "Are you mad because he chose me, or because you never really had him?" The fallout inside Yandy's world was even worse than what the public saw. Her brand partnerships began slipping. A natural hair care company quietly pulled her face from their website. A podcast sponsor released a vague statement about reevaluating influencer relationships. She was hemorrhaging credibility. It wasn't just the cheating, people assumed this was deeper, more sinister. Did she offer her eggs to Kesha knowing there was a deeper connection between them and Mendeecees? Fans whispered. Was this some weird power game gone wrong? And then came Judy. Mendeecees' mother, never one to hold her tongue, hit Instagram Live like she was dropping a mixtape. "Let me tell y'all something," she said, leaning close to the camera. "I warned Yandy. I told her Kesha was trouble. But she always thinks she knows everything. Always trying to be the savior. Now look, her sister got the baby, and she got the betrayal." It was the slap of commentary no one saw coming. Thousands tuned in, watching Judy sip wine and drop bomb after bomb. "He ain't innocent either," she added. "But she let it happen. That's on her." Meanwhile, Yandy's kids, especially Amara and Skylar, were feeling the shift. At school, whispers followed them. One parent even confronted Yandy at drop-off, passive-aggressively saying, "I hope your sister-in-law keeps her appointments now that she's expecting." The hurt in Yandy's eyes couldn't be hidden. Her family, once so carefully protected, was unraveling in front of an audience of millions. Erika's silence added fuel to the fire. Everyone wanted to know, where was she in all this? The woman Yandy had always suspected, the one Mendeecees never seemed to fully cut off. When Erika finally spoke, she didn't even say Yandy's name. She posted a cryptic Instagram story, a black screen with the text, "Sometimes God removes people from your life to make room for what's real." The message was short, but it said everything. The betrayal wasn't just personal anymore, it was spiritual. Yandy turned to her church family, but even there, support felt conditional. "Forgive, but be wise," her pastor told her in private. But forgiveness felt like a mountain she couldn't climb. She had given this man her heart, her years, her loyalty. She raised his children, stood by him during prison, fought for their family, and this was her reward? But the most unexpected twist in the fallout came from Mendeecees himself. He released a statement, not a video, not a tearful live, but a typed-up, sterile note posted to his stories. "Life is complicated. Mistakes were made. I take full responsibility for my actions. I ask for privacy as we figure out what's best for our blended family." It was cold, clinical. No apology to Yandy. No accountability to the public. Just a man doing damage control with zero soul. Yandy didn't respond. Not in words, at least. She let the silence speak. She archived every photo of her and Mendeecees from her page. She removed his name from her bio. She changed her LinkedIn status from co-founder of Family Empire to CEO of Me. Her team said she was rebranding, but insiders whispered she was retreating, gathering her strength for what came next. And honey, if you think this was the end of the drama, you're not even ready for the next twist. Because just as Atlanta was catching its breath, a new paternity test hit the blogs, and this time, it wasn't about Kesha's baby. Someone else was claiming Mendeecees as their baby daddy too. And that, my friend, is where the next chapter begins. Just when the storm seemed to be settling, and the dust of scandal had finally begun to collect over Yandy's shattered heart, a new blow came crashing in like a sledgehammer to glass. It started with a DM, anonymous, cryptic, and chilling. You think the baby with Kesha was the only one? Check the dates. Erika been quiet for a reason. One line. That's all it took to send Yandy spiraling. She didn't want to believe it. Couldn't believe it. Not again. Not Erika. Yandy had just begun trying to pick up the pieces after Kesha's betrayal. The DNA test confirming Mendeecees fathered Kesha's baby had already destroyed every illusion she had about her marriage. But Erika? The woman Yandy fought tooth and nail with for years, the one who always lurked like a shadow around Mendeecees' past? If what this message implied was true, then everything she'd forgiven, swallowed, and stood by would be meaningless. Still, her gut wouldn't let it go. She pulled receipts, medical records, calendar logs, even scrolled through Erika's old Instagram lives. It was all there. Quiet absences, secretive behavior, and one slip, a baby shower photo from 5 years ago, with a blurred face, no tags, and a caption that now read like a dagger, "Sometimes the best things are meant to be hidden." Yandy's hands trembled as she confronted Mendeecees. Tell me right now, did you have a baby with Erika before or after you came home? His silence screamed louder than any confession. He looked down, rubbed his face, and whispered, "I didn't know for sure. She never told me. Said it wasn't mine. But Yandy, I swear I didn't." Stop lying. Her voice was cracked glass. Then the final blow came. A letter delivered to her office. No name, no return address. Just a note written in neat, almost elegant handwriting. Your husband has 2 children you never knew about. One is Kesha's. The other is mine. Erika isn't the only one. Yandy dropped to the floor. Her heart was thundering in her chest. A third woman? Another child? The betrayal wasn't just infidelity anymore. It was a pattern, a double life. And someone, somewhere, had receipts they were slowly leaking like poison into her world. But why now? Who was sending these letters? And what did they want? Later that night, Yandy received a voicemail. A woman's voice. Low, calm, eerily familiar. I've waited long enough. He promised me everything while you played wife. You'll never know how many lies he told. But don't worry, Yandy. The rest is coming. And this time, you won't survive it. The call came from an untraceable number. Mendeecees walked into the room just as she ended the message. Yandy, listen to me. Whatever you heard, it's not. Get out. He froze. What? She turned to him with a look of pure steel. Pack your things. I don't care where you go, but you don't live here anymore. He pleaded. He cried. He swore he was innocent. But the damage was done. The trust shattered. And the one woman who had stood by him through prison, affairs, and family drama had finally reached her breaking point. And then, as if the universe wasn't done yet, the doorbell rang. Yandy opened it, hesitant, breathless. On the other side stood a young girl, no more than 5, holding a folded piece of paper. No parent in sight. She handed Yandy the note and ran. The paper was simple. Typed. No greeting. This is your husband's daughter. I'm not looking for money. I'm just done with the secrets. She deserves to know who her father is. More is coming. Yandy turned to look where the girl ran. But she was already gone, disappearing into the night like a ghost. The camera would pan in on Yandy's face. Pale. Haunted. Betrayed beyond repair. And the screen would cut to black. And there you have it, fam. The betrayal wasn't just one scandal, it was a whole cycle of secrets, lies, and betrayal stacked on top of each other like ticking time bombs. First Kesha, then Erika, and now, a mystery child dropped at Yandy's doorstep like a message from fate itself. This wasn't just drama. This was destruction, wrapped in a designer bow and delivered straight into the heart of one of reality TV's most iconic relationships. But the question everyone's asking now is, who sent that little girl? Who wrote that letter? And more importantly, how many more secrets is Mendeecees hiding? Because if this child is real and not the last, then we're not dealing with a broken marriage. We're witnessing the total implosion of a family empire built on loyalty, sacrifice, and illusion. So now, it's your turn. Was Yandy right to kick Mendeecees out the second the lies unraveled? Do you believe Erika's baby is really his, or is someone playing a dangerous game with receipts? And that voicemail, that voice, do you think the woman behind it is the real thread in the story? Drop your theories in the comments. Every single one. Because trust, this isn't over. Eyes. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell because the next chapter in this mess, it's coming fast. More receipts. More twists. And yes, maybe even a DNA test live on camera. So stay locked in because this saga, it's just getting started. And if you thought this was messy, you haven't seen anything yet. Hashtag Yandy versus Mendeecees, hashtag reality shattered, hashtag love and lies.